In the murky, eerie streets of Victorian London, a city shrouded in a thick blanket of fog and secrets, the year was 1888, and a name spoken in hushed tones, laced with dread and terror, echoed through the winding cobblestone alleys. Jack the Ripper, the notorious killer who remains unknown to this day, embarked on a murderous rampage that stained the pages of history with the darkest of evils. Unknown to the world, Jack the Ripper was not only a product of human depravity, but a mere pawn in a sinister game, ensnared by an ancient curse that transcended the boundaries of mortality. This curse had been set in motion by a previous killer, an insidious soul who bartered with dark forces to guarantee his own immortality. The cursed killer, in his quest for power, had unleashed a demonic entity upon the unsuspecting world. In return for his soul, the entity granted him the ability to evade death, passing his curse to a chosen successor upon his eventual demise. Jack the Ripper, an unwitting recipient of this accursed legacy, found himself compelled to continue the blood-soaked reign of terror. As the gas lamps flickered in London's mist, Jack the Ripper roamed the darkened streets, a phantom in the night. The moon cast an eerie glow upon his silhouette, his presence foreboding and malevolent. The wails of distant cats and the distant echo of horse-drawn carriages were mere whispers against the haunting symphony of dread that accompanied his every step. The first victim, a nameless woman lost in the annals of history, fell prey to Jack's blade. The cobblestone alley became a theatre of unspeakable horror as he enacted the curse's demands. Each subsequent victim bore witness to the escalating brutality of the killer's methods, their bodies mutilated with surgical precision, the very essence of their souls drained away. News of the grisly murders spread like wildfire, and a suffocating fear gripped the hearts of London denizens. The city, already cloaked in the gloom of an industrial progress, now bore witness to a darkness that seemed to seep from the very pores of the cobblestone streets. Amidst the chaos, a detective named Frederick Hawthorne dedicated himself to unraveling the mystery behind the malevolent force terrifying the city. As he delved into the arcane and the forbidden, he discovered the unholy pact that bound Jack the Ripper to a demonic curse. The detective, a man of rationality and skepticism, found himself grappling with forces beyond the realm of human comprehension. Hawthorne's investigation led him to a long-forgotten tome and forbidden knowledge, revealing the twisted history of the curse that bound Jack the Ripper. The cursed killer, aware of Hawthorne's pursuit, reveled in the torment he unleashed upon the detective, leaving cryptic messages at the crime scenes and taunting him with the inevitability of an ancient malevolence. One fateful night, as the city slept in uneasy silence, Jack the Ripper's blade claimed his penultimate victim, a woman of indomitable spirit who fought against the darkness that sought to consume her. The curse demanded its due, and the victim's life force flowed into the cursed killer, tethering him further to the demonic entity that lurked in the shadows. Hawthorne, driven by a desperate determination to end the reign of terror, closed in on the elusive killer, the detective mind, once anchored in the realm of reason, now teetered on the precipice of madness, and he confronted the supernatural forces that defied explanation. In his pursuit, Hawthorne uncovered an ancient ritual that, if performed correctly, could sever the cursed connection between Jack the Ripper and the demonic entity. The ritual required a sacrifice of immense significance, one that would test the limits of Hawthorne's own mortality. As the detective delved into the forbidden arts, he found himself navigating a treacherous path between the realms of light and shadow. The ancient text spoke of an eldritch ceremony that demanded the spilling of innocent blood, a dark baptism that would force the demonic entity back into the depths from whence it came. On the eve of Jack the Ripper's final blood-soaked night, Hawthorne prepared for the ritual that would determine the fate of not only the cursed killer, but the very soul of Victorian London itself. The air crackled with an unnatural energy as the detective, guided by forbidden knowledge, ventured into the heart of the city's darkest secrets. The last victim, a woman of tragic circumstance, became the unwitting vessel for the ritual. As Jack the Ripper closed in for the kill, the spectral figure of Hawthorne emerged from the shadows, armed with arcane symbols and incantations. The fog-clad alley became a battleground between the forces of ancient malevolence and the desperate determination of a man who sought to defy the inevitability of darkness. The ritual unfolded amidst the chaos of the struggle. As Jack the Ripper, driven by the curse's compulsion, lunged at his final victim, the ritual reached its climax. The symbols glowed with an otherworldly radiance, and the air itself seemed to rebel against the unholy presence that sought to defy the forces set into motion. In a moment of transcendent horror, the demonic entity was wrenched from the cursed killer, its agonized howls echoing into the abyss. Jack the Ripper, freed from the malevolent force that had bound him, collapsed to the blood-stained cobblestones, his consciousness teetering on the brink of sanity. Hawthorne, wary and haunted by the atrocities he had committed in the name of salvation, stared into the void that consumed the demonic entity. The alley, once a battleground of unspeakable horrors, now bore witness to a silence that spoke of the lingering echoes of a supernatural struggle. The fog, thick and suffocating, began to dissipate, revealing a city scarred by the sins of its past. Jack the Ripper, now released from the curse, faced the consequences of the atrocities he had committed under malevolent influence. As dawn broke over the scarred city, a somber stillness settled upon the cobblestone streets. The legend of Jack the Ripper faded into the annals of history, leaving behind a tale of darkness and redemption that whispered through the veins of Victorian London. Hawthorne awoke the next day in his chamber with a sense of dread. As he looked at his hands, he saw the crimson of fresh blood. Lying next to him on the bed was a bloodied knife, and a young boy's voice shouted from outside, "Jack the Ripper strikes again! Read all about it!" Now it was Hawthorne who was the Ripper, cursed with an uncontrollable desire to kill, and he knew he would have to wander the murky streets of London, hunting and killing until another performed the ritual to free him. His senses reeled in horror as the reality of what he had become sunk in. the smell of blood, the chill of fear, the darkness that consumed him as he sunk deeper into the depths of despair. He felt a profound sense of sadness as he realized his fate, but he also felt a strange sense of anticipation as he prepared to embark on his murderous journey.